This video is long overdue. If I'm being honest, I delayed it so long because I wasn't confident enough in my own skills to feel comfortable giving someone else advice. But now I feel I have cracked the code on guttering and I want to share it with you all. Let's go! Any video like this has to start with the basics, so let's talk about what guttering is and what the advantages are. A simple explanation is when you take a turn, you can put the two inside wheels of your car into the dirt to take that corner faster. Your first question should be, do I need to do it every time? And the answer is no. This technique is situational, and the easiest way to tell whether guttering will be faster than staying on the road is to ask yourself, when approaching the corner, can I take this corner without letting off the throttle? If the answer is yes, then guttering is not necessary. When you drop your two wheels into the dirt, you do slow the car down. So if you can take it without lifting off the throttle, then obviously do that. Besides full speed corners though, there are a couple more situations where guttering is not beneficial. When you're approaching a turn with a cut or a reset, for example. Usually, with cuts or resets, you're looking to keep the most speed possible, and cutting the corner completely is sometimes possible depending on the location of the checkpoints. Inside the playlists or in summit events, sometimes resetting a corner is a little bit faster, and that's sort of where my guides come in. Over time, you're gonna start knowing all of the corners on the map and knowing which ones you're gonna need to gutter and which ones you're gonna reset and which ones you're just gonna take normally. All right. Now that you know what it is, and sort of when to do it, let's talk about things that can help make it easier. First, not all cars in the game gutter the same. In Street 2, for example, the F40 is the gutter king, whereas the Porsche 993, which happens to be the meta car, is sort of weak at it. If you aren't shaking your head in agreement with me right now, you should drive both of those cars on the race Legendary X Rivalry and try to gutter every single turn. You'll instantly realize how much better the F40 is. Anyways, your approach and your entry is super important to whether you'll be able to stay in that gutter or not. Here's what not to do. Number 1, do not enter that gutter with too much speed. You'll drive right through it and into the wall. Number 2, do not wait until the last second to enter. Get your car straddling the gutter just before the turn. If you try to enter that gutter mid-turn, you've already lost the time that you would have gained by using it, and you might as well just stay on the pavement and start accelerating. Number 3, do not be on the throttle when entering the gutter. You should be coasting into the gutter to allow the car to settle into its position. Because you're dropping two wheels into the dirt, the car will bounce a little bit, and the worst thing for that bouncing is to be on the throttle, particularly in a lower gear. And speaking of gears, number 4, if you're in manual, downshifting to engine brake is fine, but shift up once as you enter the gutter so the car gets more stable as you start to steer it through the corner. Number 5, try not to put all 4 wheels in the dirt. This slows you down too much, and it can lead to a very unstable car depending on the class. All right, now that you're in the gutter, what's next? First, do not accelerate until the car feels hooked in and settled. Over time, you'll know what that feels and looks like, but the car should feel sort of magnetized to the turning line. My suggestion to feel it out is to tap the throttle until you feel it stick, and then you can go full on. Your goal while in the turn is to keep the car centered over the gutter. Both steering and throttle will affect how the car oversteers and understeers. When on the throttle, the car is going to oversteer more. When off the throttle, the car is going to understeer more. Just a quick breakdown on oversteer versus understeer. Oversteers when the car turns too much, and understeers when the car doesn't turn enough. A small trick that I've learned for helping you control the car while in the gutter is after you enter the gutter and the car feels planted and settled, you can downshift once to tighten the car's turning radius up a little bit as you accelerate through. This can help keep you in that gutter and speed up your acceleration while exiting. And speaking of exiting, you only need to be in the gutter long enough to make the turn. Exiting as early as possible without going off into the dirt on the other side or hitting walls allows you to regain traction on the road, accelerate faster, sooner, and not lose as much speed as you would by keeping two wheels in the dirt. You basically just need the gutter to hook you for the tightest part of the corner, and then you exit when you're pointing the correct direction to be on your way. Now, I wouldn't get too focused on your exits in the beginning because the hardest part of guttering is keeping the car in the gutter during the turn. My suggestion is to practice as many gutters as you possibly can, now armed with this information. My favorite course to practice guttering is the first race in the Donut Media playlist. It's called Legendary X Rivalry. Basically, every turn is a gutter turn. So use that to enhance your skills, and I suggest using a car like the F40 at first, and then move into other cars that might not be as good at guttering so that you can enhance your skills. But start with the F40 and see if you can nail all those turns. Now, I know there's a lot to think about when guttering, but the biggest keys to your success will be your entry speed, the entry angle, and being off the throttle when you enter. Focus on that first, and the rest will start to make sense when you've really got the hang of it. Now, I really didn't talk about what speed you need to enter the corner, but it's because every turn is different, and it's impossible for me to tell you how fast you need to go for that corner. A good gauge for how fast you want to take the corner is it's going to be slightly faster than the fastest possible pace without being in the gutter. So if you can take a turn at 90 miles per hour without being in the gutter, then you can probably take it at around 100 miles per hour in the gutter. Lastly, I want to mention that your steering settings do affect your ability to gutter. I suggest increasing your steering sensitivity to at least 70 to start. Having your max lock at 55 to 60 and then slowly increasing those to around 80 for the sensitivity and 70 for max lock is definitely recommended. This will improve your guttering as it makes the car feel way more connected to your steering movements. Also, reduce your dead zone to 0 straight away. The cars will instantly feel more responsive, which really helps with your control of the car while in the middle of those gutters and honestly everywhere else that you're racing. If you're still racing with a dead zone, I strongly recommend removing it. All right. I really hope this has helped, as that's always my goal. If you have any questions, remember you can send me a DM on Instagram or Discord. I read every single message that comes my way. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Trigger out.